It's 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony. Until one day, a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 9 knee-jerk stream. Game Week 8 is not quite over yet. We've still got one game tomorrow, which is Nottingham Forest versus Crystal Palace. I've got no players left whatsoever, so I am 39 all out. Currently on a very small green arrow, about 200,000 places, but I've got no Chris Wood, no Eze, no Nottingham Forest defence. I'm sure some people still own Dean Henderson, etc. So the rank is going to go down a little bit, and I'm probably going to end up on a red arrow, but it's not going to be a massive one. So, pretty decent score. I'm not going to spend the whole stream talking about Bukayo Saka, but I'm happy to take some questions on it before we get into everything else that's probably a lot more interesting. How's the cartel going? Amazing. The WhatsApp group has been absolutely popping all weekend. I actually, no joke, just before I started the stream, I ran downstairs to see if we had any tinfoil to make a hat. We just didn't really have enough, so I didn't bother. Because the amount of, like, conspiracies that have been going on all weekend. how come? So this is one of the most popular questions. How come so many content creators sold Saka last minute? Well, one, he was a doubt. Son had better fixtures. Son's also a captain against Ipswich in game week 11. But also, you're following content creators that are very highly engaged FPL managers, right? You're waiting as long as possible to see if any news comes up. And it doesn't mean that you're waiting for a leak on Saka. It could have even been like early Spurs team news. Imagine if we got a leak that Son wasn't starting. You wouldn't have made that transfer. So when you're doing a deadline stream and I'm sat here until the deadline, there's no need for me to make my transfer early. Like, what benefit does that have for my team? So, like, I don't understand why people think it's so strange to wait until the last minute. And also, it was quite a close call. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. And then I just decided last minute to do it. Like, it's one of those things. On another day, I don't do it, and there we go. So, hopefully that answers that question. What else have we got about Bukayo Saka? Also, by the way, and this is quite funny, I have a confession to make. So make sure you're sitting down. I actually did get sent the Arsenal team, right? Which I don't think I've said on Twitter. I've said it on Discord. I didn't see it until about 2:45 in the afternoon, the person that sent it to me. And I replied back to them and said, I completely missed this. And it wasn't from the person that gave me the Gabriel stuff game week 1 last year. It was a different person. Someone that if I'd seen it before the deadline, I wouldn't have said it was like 100% accurate. I probably would have trusted it. And do you know what the great thing is? That team had Saka in it. Can you imagine if I'd talked about that team before the deadline and told you all that Saka was starting? Can you imagine? So I did get sent the Arsenal team. I missed it. And it had Saka starting. Can you imagine if I'd released that info? How much grief would I have had all weekend? Absolute ridiculous. I'd be like even worse than just making a transfer last minute. So, I wouldn't say the person was waffling. I think they sent the team in good faith, and without like giving too much away, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't say it was 100% accurate. But the person it came from, I would have trusted enough to act on it. Like if I'd seen that team before the deadline, I would have mentioned it, and I wouldn't have sold Saka. But I don't know. I don't know what else to say. How do you deal with the Twitter abuse? It's relentless. I just block everyone that mentions that there's this cartel, and I just don't look at it really. Like, what more can you do? I don't know if that's what people want to spend their time on. That's up to them. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it myself. Obviously, we're going to talk about it a little bit now because it's fresh, and it's worse because Son did really well. Son got an assist that most people don't think he should have had. So it's like it's all been made worse. If we'd all bought in Son and he'd blanked, there wouldn't be such an uproar. But because Son's done well, that's just made it even worse. And also, a lot of people, they can't seem to understand why someone would sell Saka after a 16-pointer. And as I said to people before we even knew that Saka wasn't playing, he wasn't playing Southampton at home this week, right? And he was a doubt. Like, he was playing Bournemouth away and he wasn't even sure if he's going to start. And he's got Liverpool next week. Like, these are all circumstances you take into account. Just because a player's done really well doesn't mean you don't sell them. It's similar with Fernandes. I said this morning that I might sell Fernandes this week. How can you sell Fernandes when he's finally returned? It doesn't matter if he's returned. It's about whether or not there's someone else to bring in that's better. It's just one of those things. Like I said, on another day, I might not have even sold Saka. I don't know what more I can say to you. Like, there's going to be people that are completely not going to believe it. That's fine. You want to be a conspiracy theorist about FPL and spend your time thinking that there's this big organisation, by all means do it. But I'm not going to pay massive amounts of attention to it. Sons was not an assist, but ho-hums the joys of playing FPL. I think it's a bit weird to have given Son the assist when it's an Areola own goal. When I first saw it, and I thought it was a Todibo own goal, I thought that's an assist. I saw people saying it's not, but I actually think it was. So I'm a little bit surprised it stood. I will say there's a lot of talk going around about why it shouldn't be an assist, and I will say people are misinterpreting the rules. Like, a lot of people saying like it's like the Gakpo one from last year, but it's not. Gakpo wasn't a rebounded shot, so it's not quite the same thing. Oh yeah, that's really interesting what someone just said in the chat. I saw that. Rob TFPL had a good graph to show the market only dropping once team sheets came out. The Saka benching wasn't known to them either. Yeah, so the betting markets that Rob always posts, they didn't change beforehand. And often, because there's money involved, people involved with betting markets, they get inside info. And so they react to early team news before it's out. There was no reaction. So if you think that FPL managers, content creators had Saka news and the betting markets didn't, I think there's no hope for what you'll believe. What's the cartel eating tonight? I had 5 chicken tenders from Supermax. Thanks for asking. Without Saliba, Arsenal will be worse defensively. Should we consider getting rid of Gabriel? He's only out for 1 week, right? Last paragraph of the rebound section regarding FPL assists are pretty clear. Which bit is that? You still think it's worth moving out Saka for Son and then back to Saka in 12? Yeah, probably. If he's a doubt. Like, if he's a doubt going into this week. They've got Champions League this week, right? So if he plays in that, you could maybe keep him. Or was it 3 games for Saliba? Oh, damn, I thought it was only 1. Oh, that's even worse then. I thought the page said that he was back on the 2nd of November. Is that... Let me have a look here. Yeah, he's suspended till the 2nd of November, right? It's just 1. Just 1 game, not 3. Rico Lewis useless. Yeah, a bit annoying, but he did start again at least, and he's got Southampton at home next week. I based the Saka thing purely off what Lee from Arsenal Fan TV said. Yeah, there was a lot of things that kind of built up to it. He wasn't spotted beforehand, or at least no one could confirm whether he'd been spotted. The stuff from Arsenal Fan TV. Again, like, it's small margins. If I'd had 1 free transfer, I don't think I would have made the move. But there you go. If a significant touch is made by an opposition player after the blocked effort, then no fantasy assist is awarded. Yeah, but so this is why I think it's weird. I don't think it is an Areola own goal. I think it's a Todibo own goal and it's a Son assist. But look, whatever. If they take the assist away tomorrow, which they might do, I'm fine with it. I wouldn't sit here and argue. I will say it's not the same as the Gakpo assist that everyone keeps sending around. I don't even think it's the same as the Dallo one that I've seen people posting as well. It's got nothing to do with the deflection for a pass, because it wasn't a pass, it was a shot. But yeah, if they want to take it away, I will not complain whatsoever. I think it's lucky. You're completely right. Been a poor week if you don't own Son. It just spikes more hate. Yeah, exactly. If Son blanked, there wouldn't be as much uproar. What do you think about downgrading Raya for Kepa, Fleck and Sanchez and transferring out Bowen to maybe Brennan to fund a future move for Cole Palmer or Saka, removing Trent? That feels like a lot of moves you have to make just to get 1 premium player. So I'm not really massively sure about it. I'm still going back and forth on Trent Alexander-Arnold and whether or not I should keep him. And I just think for 10, 11 and 12, Brighton, Villa at home and Southampton, I kind of want him. But I could just sell Trent this week and get Palmer for Bruno. Like, it's such a close call. I don't know if I want to drop Trent. I really don't. There is no reason for content creators to lie. If any of them have news, it's good for their channel. Yeah, exactly. But, like, again, people don't want to... Yeah, this is the thing, right? It's the same with models, right? As in, like, FPL models. Last year, they had to be banned because it was cheating. This year, because people are doing badly, it's like, well, it's just laughable. There's always a narrative to fit what... There's basically a group of people that just don't like content creators, and they spend their whole... Maybe not their whole life, but a lot of their time online just looking for something to throw, whatever, like to hit them with a stick or whatever, just to kind of put them down. And so it doesn't matter. Like, you're right. If someone had news out there and they posted it, that's a lot of followers you gain if you want followers for that reason. The idea that someone would just hold it and there's this like secret group. I'm hardly in. I don't think I'm in any groups. I hate them. Every time someone asks me to join a group chat, I just say no because I just mute them straight away. So there's no point being in them in the first place. Despite his performances, would you still do Salah to Palmer this week? I think I'd rather have Salah for the next 4 than Palmer, probably. I don't think you... Like, Palmer's really good, right? And I am worried if I don't go with him this week. But I think the time you really want him is game week 12. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Bruno assist. It was so good. Loved it. Nice little flick. I thought like swimwear models. Was wondering where he's going with that one. No one talking about Bowen's assist because no content creator owns him. I'll tell you now. So I saw people. I didn't see the first. I only watched. I can't remember how much of the Spurs game I watched, but I couldn't watch the start of it because I was out. And I saw people complaining about the Bowen assist. And then I looked at the goal, and that's clearly not an assist by FPL's rules. And don't shoot the messenger. I know if you're a Bowen owner, you're going to be frustrated, and I know you're going to say it's because I don't own Bowen. But by the FPL rules, that is a consistent thing they just wouldn't give an assist for. And the reason is, when he plays that ball, he's trying to play it to someone at the near post. I think it's Antonio. And then the defender flicks it and it lands on Kudus at the back. So that's not an assist. Having the likes of Palmer, Son, Salah, who I don't want to get rid of. Do I free hit this week to get Haaland in? I don't think it's worth wasting a free hit just to get Palmer for 1 week. Just to get Haaland for 1 week. I think in the end that free hit will be worth more points later on. Like, I know what Haaland could do this week, but Palmer against Newcastle at home I think is perfectly fine to just captain. I think I'd rather captain Palmer at home to Newcastle and save my free hit than use my free hit just to get Haaland, basically. Jimenez, great option. Is Bruno essential now? No, definitely not. Might keep him though. What are the potential Diaz replacements? Can you believe it? Luis Diaz benched again. And yes, I am a little bit happy about that because I didn't go with him on wildcard 6. Brennan Johnson still a good option. Garnacho I really like as well. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, if you want to stick at the same price, is not a completely terrible pick, although for your sanity, I probably wouldn't bring him in. You could downgrade him to like an Eze as well and use money elsewhere. If you can find money to upgrade him, you could go to Palmer. Game weeks 12 to 18, swapping between midfielders should be fun, not swinging at all. There's going to be lots of point swings. You basically got to make your bed and sleep in it with midfield with premium picks over the next few weeks. Why did FPL delete the Son tweet? I don't know. Perhaps it's just going to get overturned tomorrow. By this time tomorrow, maybe Son doesn't have an assist. He loses a bonus point and happy days, you know. Diaz is starting the next game. He was arrested because of the international game. Yeah, absolutely, probably is. But it's Champions League, right? So he might play in the Champions League, then not start against Arsenal. It's not surprising Diaz was benched as he came back late from international break. Sure, but he was also benched the game before that, right? So he is just a risk for rotation. I'm tracking behind in time watching this, or watching a bit. Oh, sorry, you're watching the start of the stream. I always find you straight up, ignore the negative energy. Yeah, it's like, I will ignore it mostly. It's difficult to completely ignore it, but do you know what? By tomorrow, everyone will, well, not everyone won't be over it. There'll still be people that just want to keep banging the drum for the next week or so, but I'll be over it by tomorrow. I'm thinking Trent Porro to Vardiol. If I do Porro, I could do Son to Saka. And then I would have Brennan Johnson, Solanke, and Son. Should I just do Saka to Palmer? I'd just do Saka to Palmer. I don't think you need to spend transfers freeing up Spurs slots when they've got good fixtures. Like, Son is great, but, you know, he's not suddenly... Sorry. Yeah, I'm confused now. If I do Porro, I could do Son to Saka. Then I would have... Oh, sorry, Saka to Son, you mean. Yeah, I'm not sure I would use a spot to free it up. I would just get Palmer instead. I've got Calvert-Lewin like you, but I'm keen to move on to Raul Jimenez. So yeah, I said he was pretty good just a minute ago. Calvert-Lewin's frustrating. Let's be honest. This is the 4th week in a row now that he's blanked. According to the FPL site, he put up 1.31 expected goals and blanked against Ipswich. Hugely frustrating. Personally, again, it all comes down to whether or not it's worth the transfer. I'd prefer to just play him against Fulham at home and Southampton away and save my transfer. I'm not going to get rid of him. On the topic of Raul Jimenez, let me just find it here. I think with the fixtures, I don't know if now is the right time to buy him, if I'm honest. You've got 3 away games in the next 5, which are Everton, Palace and Spurs. Not terrible, but I guess not amazing either. The home games are Brentford and Wolves, which are not too bad. And then from 14 onwards, you got Brighton at home, Arsenal at home, Liverpool away. And then even after Southampton at home in 17, it's Chelsea away. So I like Jimenez. I think there's now a good chance he will take the next penalty as well. And his price is so good. He's in such good form. I wouldn't sit here and say he's a bad pick. Absolutely not. And if you want to go for him instead of Calvert-Lewin, fair enough. Personally, I wouldn't use a transfer on it the next 2 game weeks, but it's obviously your choice. It's your team. But I just think, like, from game week 10 onwards, for a bit more money, if you can afford it, someone like Cunha has got a longer run of good fixtures. So I like Jimenez. Just 3 away games next 5. And longer term Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea away. I think he's a good pick. I can't say otherwise. But I won't be selling Calvert-Lewin. I'm just going to stick with that. I just think over the next few weeks there's going to be some really big moves to make. Like I might have to use 2 free transfers to get Palmer in. I might decide to do Haaland to Salah. That's going to be another 2 transfers. I don't want to waste them taking out a player that's got Fulham at home and Southampton at home next 2 game weeks. Even with the fact that he's blanked 4 games in a row. It's a similar situation to Fernandes. It just doesn't feel like the right time to sell Calvert-Lewin. And I think there is a difference there, by the way. This is what, if any of you follow me and Az, right? Az put a tweet out yesterday about me leaving a voice note to him trying to defend Bruno Fernandes. But what I was trying to explain is why I haven't sold him. Not why I think he's a good pick, but just why I haven't sold him. I think it's the same with Calvert-Lewin. If I was wildcarding now, would I put Calvert-Lewin in? Probably not. But would I go out of my way to sell him? Also, probably not. Why am I playing Gabriel over Trent? Well, this team was set before anything happened over the weekend. I think excuse me, my voice almost broke then. I think I might end up playing Trent. So part of the thinking of why I've got Gabriel in the team, because I've got Raya, so I'm kind of going for the, I wouldn't necessarily call it a higher upside play, but I'm basically going all in on one defence rather than hedging my bets a little bit. But the fact that Arsenal have now lost Saliba, that is going to weaken them a little bit. And that makes me think I just play Trent instead. Anderson, red card, weakens Fulham. Yeah, it makes it slightly better for Calvert-Lewin. I just think on paper it's a good fixture. I'm not going to sell him. Anyone still asking about cartel nonsense, I talked about it at the start of the stream. I'm not going to keep talking about it. Like I said, if you want to believe that there's this great big conspiracy, that's up to you. Are we going for Reece James from game week 12? I highly doubt it. I would need to see him play like 75 minutes plus in every game before then, and then I'd maybe consider it, because he is under 5 million, so it would be tempting. I just can't see him holding up by that point. The price is super enticing, though. Is Madison now a minute's risk? Should I sell? I wouldn't necessarily rush out and selling, but it is a little bit worrying that he got hooked at half-time. That's probably going to be an ignore for me now. Kept Salah captain and Watkins and didn't take a -4 for Haaland as per your advice. Nice. Dunk came in for Saka. Even nicer. 55 points game week. Wow, that's 55 points this week is massive. Keep Salah, got in Burmo, Palmer, Johnson. Look, it's easy for me to say because I'm sat here with Haaland captain against Southampton at home and I don't have to give that any thought this week. I'd be pretty tempted, and again, easy for me to say, if I had a Salah draft and I didn't have Haaland, I would just see it through for one more week. And I think from 10 onwards, you're looking good again. You've just got to basically hope that Haaland doesn't score 4 or 5 goals and like the likes of Salah and Palmer all blank this week, which is very unlikely. And I think you're just on to a winner overall. I think essentially, even if you lose points this week, you'll gain more later on by not using transfers to kind of shift that around. And I also think like Palmer, Newcastle at home, good captain. Son, Palace away, good captain. In Burmo, Ipswich at home, good captain. There are options there. None of them are as good as Haaland. Let's not pretend otherwise. Haaland is clearly the best captain this week. Even with the 3 blanks in a row, I don't think I would do it. Or at least I'd like to think I wouldn't do it. Would you advise me Saka, Havertz to Wood, Palmer, and bank 1 million for possible improvements in following weeks? I like Chris Wood, yeah. The thing is, if Saka's fit, I'm not sure Palmer's a massive upgrade for the next 3, necessarily. I guess I would rather have Palmer. Yeah, I don't mind that move. Getting rid of those 2 before Liverpool. Reece James didn't pose a massive attacking threat today. Yeah, but it was against Liverpool, right? They're a good team. And also, he's just back, right? He probably doesn't want to go marauding up and down that wing with his hamstrings. Probably a little bit too risky. Haaland is not clear for anything anymore. Look, that's the same kind of like talk that made people sell Saka for Palmer before he played Southampton at home. Despite what's happened, that's such a good fixture on paper. Like the thought of selling Haaland or not captaining him will not come into my thinking at all this week. At all. Wouldn't you prefer Watkins over Palmer long-term wise? Not really. I mean, there's obviously a big difference in price, but probably not. I think Vardiol is benched for a rest versus Southampton. Possibly, but I doubt it. We can keep an eye on what happens with Ake over the next week or so. Maybe he comes back in at some point if he's fit enough, but I think Vardiol is probably fine. Like the thing is, it's one of those things where I just wouldn't overthink it. Is there a chance that Pep Guardiola uses an easy fixture like that to rest some players? Sure, but unless you know, you're not going to bench them, are you? You're just going to play them. Because if you bench Vardiol and then he plays against Southampton, you're going to massively regret it. So it's one of those things that I just wouldn't think about. Not about the C word, but what was your reason for Saka to Son in the very last moment? Well, for all the reasons I spoke about before, but like I said earlier, I just make my moves last minute, and it was touch and go. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do it, and I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I think I kept talking about the Liverpool fixture this week. I was like, if he misses out against Bournemouth and then has to play Liverpool, that's just not as good as Son. And also, I think in Game Week 11, if I don't switch Haaland to Salah, I think I'll probably captain Son in Game Week 11 against Ipswich as well. The funny thing is, actually, I haven't mentioned this earlier, so I know we're going slightly back to the Saka stuff, but at the start of the deadline stream, I literally said I wouldn't be surprised, or maybe it's not word for word, right? I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but I said by the end of this deadline stream, I'm probably going to have Son, or there's a very high chance I'm going to have Son. And then with about 7 minutes to go, maybe 10 minutes, I said by the end of this deadline stream, I'm probably going to have Son. And I think I said something like, I'm not trying to build up suspense. I just want to wait for the last minute in case there's any news. And as soon as I say stuff like that, people think, oh, he's waiting for a leak. He's waiting for a leak. Yes, but not necessarily about Saka. It could have been about the Spurs team or whatever. So I really don't know what more I can say, even though I know I'm going to get lured into talking about it again at some point during this stream. I will always make my moves as last minute as possible. Like I'm literally sat here streaming until the deadline. There's no benefit for my team in going earlier. Trent out for Keane. I don't think so. I guess Keane's doing all right now. He does have a good bit of goal threat, but I think at some point Branthwaite will be back, right? Branthwaite's not like out for a long time or anything, I don't think. Yeah, he's currently he's orange flagged at the moment, 50%. Trent to Vardiol this week. Pep roulette is my only problem. Look, honestly, if you're already thinking like that, I'm not sure Man City players are necessarily for you. But I think Vardiol has one of the best potential minutes out of the Man City defence. If that makes it any better. 24 months, by the way, Chaz. Thank you very much. Forgot to mention that. People forget there was no guarantee Son would haul. He actually hit the post as well. It could have been even bigger. Imagine that. Jota injured. Are we talking about Darwin again? Let's wait and see how long Jota's out for. I don't think it'll be that bad, but it's hard to know without knowing what the injury was. It looked like he got kind of hit in his ribs. It looked like he was a bit winded at first, but then he played on and he had to go off. So it's hard to know, right? AJ, thank you very much. Thoughts on bringing Visser in? He got quite a few minutes, didn't he? So he was back sooner than a lot of people thought. Did he get like 25 plus off the bench? 24 minutes. Yeah. Look, I think off the back of an injury, is there a guarantee he goes straight back into the 11? Maybe not, but I think there's a good chance he does. And once he's in, he's not coming back out again, is he? I mean, Brentford do have quite a few options, but Visser is just so good. I don't think Thomas Frank would leave him out. So if you need a cheap forward, I'd be very tempted by Visser, I think, this week. Did I have Pinnock in your game week in my squad this week? No, and I found it so funny because I was, like I said earlier, I was chatting to Az about why I kept Bruno Fernandes. And I said to him, I can't believe that people were in my deadline stream saying that I should play Pinnock over Fernandes. I thought it was utter nonsense, right? I think if people had that same decision, they wouldn't have done it, right? They would have played Fernandes. And then Pinnock went and scored. I was like, I can't. Honestly, I was sat in the pub. Me and my wife were having a pint before we caught the bus. And I was watching the game and I saw the corner and I saw Pinnock score. And I was like, I can't believe that's just happened. I just cannot believe he scored. So basically, that's 2 goals on my bench the last 2 weeks from him. And now I'm probably going to play him against Ipswich at home and he's going to get outscored by whoever I bench out of Trent or Gabriel. Is Solanke a dud now? No, I don't think so. But he's not returned like I would hope he would have returned since I wildcarded him in. He's had 665 and now a blank. Wasn't that massively involved yesterday considering they scored 4 goals. The bus, yeah, you can't drive after you drink. It's bad for you. Bad for other people too. Got phone and I'm already regretting it slightly. It seems City are playing 2 players in Rodri's role. A hold, but another benching won't be surprising. Yeah, so again, this is not to say I told you so. Absolutely not. But this was why I said on the deadline stream I had no interest in Foden. Now, I thought he would start. I said that. I also thought Saka was going to start. That didn't happen. But I did think there was a good chance that Foden would start this week and next. But he's competing for those central spots. Gundogan has played recently. Bernardo Silva's always going to be in that 11. So unless Bernardo Silva goes and plays on the right, Foden's or Gundogan comes out of the team, Foden's not going to play. And obviously at some point De Bruyne is going to be back, which just muddies the water. The thing is, again, with your FPL team not thinking about certain stuff, if you've got Foden, don't even bother spending any time this week thinking about it. You're not going to sell him. It's Southampton at home. He's going to be in your 11, so just put him in and accept that that's going to happen. You cannot sell him before Southampton at home. So yeah, if you've got him, just play him, hope for the best, and figure out what to do with him from game week 10 onwards. Am I still playing Champions League Fantasy? Yes. I don't spend as much time on it as I do FPL, naturally, but I will have a look tomorrow at what changes I need to make. I'm doing all right in that, actually. What are your thoughts on Saka to Palmer and Diaz to Garnacho? I have Johnson, or Saka to Son, Diaz to Son, and Trent to Aït-Nouri. I'm guessing that's... Okay, so yeah, I'm guessing that's Saka to Palmer, Diaz to Son. I think in that case, you probably just keep Trent and just get one of them. I quite like Garnacho as an option. I think it's worth me saying he's probably not 100% nailed to start every single game. But I've said this since the start of the season. It hasn't always been correct. Well, yeah, so since the start of the season, I've said I think Garnacho is Man United's best, probably attacker overall, definitely their best winger, and I think he'll pretty much be nailed on. That didn't happen at the start of the season. He only started one of the first 4, but he's got 4 90 minutes in a row now. He started straight off the back of the international break. I think he's in that team now. I don't think... Amad Diallo is just not as good. I know a lot of people were talking him up at the start of the season, but you can't... He's not better than Garnacho, and Ten Hag's very rarely going to leave Rashford out. So Amad Diallo is going to be the fall guy. I just think for 6.2 million, Garnacho's price and the fixtures that Man United have got is just decent. But you can't buy him. You can't buy him thinking that he's definitely going to start every single game, because there is some doubt there for sure. He's not like a Son or a Salah or someone like that. People talking like Foden didn't return at Southampton at home next after Doku and Savinho flopped. Yeah, true. He did return off the corner for the Stones goal. It's just that he didn't start, right? It's frustrating. Like, I always say this. There's always, like, Duran, for example, kept scoring off the bench, and people bring him in. Yeah, but he can keep... Doesn't matter if he doesn't start because he'll score off the bench, but that's not going to keep happening. So, yeah, Foden's fine to keep for Southampton at home, but you don't want players that are not going to start, or you can't guarantee are going to start. Sometimes there's reason to go for a player that's not 100% nailed if the value's there. But as I said on Saturday, Foden's like 0.6 million less than Son. Son's guaranteed to start when he's fit. His minutes are amazing. They weren't obviously this week because he's just back from injury, but generally he's like a 75, 80 minute plus player every week, and he's probably on penalties as well. So to me, Foden just doesn't... I feel like I'm talking about it and people are going to be frustrated because they've just brought him in. But Foden just doesn't feel like great value to me. I think for a little bit more money, you get much better players in like Son, Saka. I mean, Palmer's quite a lot more money. I get that. Just like honestly, I'd rather have Fernandes than Foden at the moment. Not this week because of Southampton at home. If you offered me one of those like Fernandes plus the money or Foden over the next 6 weeks, I'd probably take Fernandes. And I know that's going to get laughed out of town. I just think you look at the Man United fixtures, you know Fernandes is going to play. At some point, hopefully, he'll get a penalty. I would just rather have Fernandes and the money than Foden. Would you do Saka to Son and reverse it in game week 12? So, obviously I did it this week. I would probably do it if he's still a doubt. And I would go in with it with a mind that you could reverse it, but just wait and see what happens. I feel like if we get to 12 and there's loads of other issues that have come up and Son's got Man City away, I'm not going to feel like I've got to like hit him out of the team, like take points hits. I'll just play him against City and then it's Fulham at home the weekend after. So, yeah, I think I probably would do Saka to Son if Saka's a doubt. I'm the guy that benched Pinnock twice. Yeah, me too. Bought Calvert-Lewin 2 weeks ago just to shut him down and just sold Jackson for Solanke. I'll go play Curling. Curling's great. Not that I've ever played it. Yeah, Jackson for Solanke is a bit harsh, but there's plenty more weeks to come. Still having Bruno Fernandes is bizarre. Is it? I've got a player that's just outscored Cole Palmer and Erling Haaland combined. And he only costs 8.2 million. That feels like great value to me. I'm not convinced people want me to go through the story of why I still own Bruno Fernandes again. If you do, let me know. Happy to talk about it. Do we start getting Wolves players in this week or next? 8 nearing either Cunha or Strand Larson on my radar. I think 10's the turn of the really good fixture swing, right? So that's probably when I would be mostly targeting them. Am I considering Haaland triple captain next week? Probably not. I feel like I should have just done it for Ipswich. There's going to be some temptation to do it, and that will probably be another decision that goes right down to the deadline because I'm not going to be 100% sure about doing it. But I think at this point, I just wait for a double game week. If you have Saka and 2 free transfers, do you eat the price drop or suggest players or teams to focus on for the next 5 weeks? Unless you're going to get priced out, I would maybe just eat the price drop and wait for more information. But it probably is a move for Son or Palmer, basically. Unless you want to downgrade because you need money elsewhere. There's not a player I hate more than FPL Haaland 24-25. What about Eze? His price is dropping, but he's just dropped, hasn't he? Like, so he's not going to drop again for a little while. At least wait and see what happens tomorrow night. Look, Eze's frustrating. It's hard to sit here and try and argue that he's still a good pick. But if I had Eze, again, it's that question of Eze plus a free transfer or go and get like a Brennan Johnson or a Garnacho. And I think Brennan Johnson and Garnacho are both good options. But do I think they're massively better than Eze? Not necessarily, to be honest with you. So I'd probably just keep hold of him. But again, it's one of those things that's very easy to say when I don't own him. Like, it's difficult when you've got a player that's dropping in price and blanking all the time. Like, to have I don't know what the word is, the nerve or the stupidity, whatever you want. It's like Bruno Fernandes, right? To keep hold. It's tough. But, like, Spurs at home, Wolves away, Fulham at home, the next 3 after Forest away tomorrow, it doesn't look that bad to me. Saka to Palmer or Son, I have wildcard. In that case, I'd probably go Son. Because you can always just wildcard Palmer in later on. West Ham give away a lot of penalties. Bruno stays. You know what's going to happen the first time Bruno gets a penalty, right? This season, he's going to miss it. He's going to miss it. Last year, I had Bruno until game week 10, so it feels like worthwhile. Just keep him one more week for old time's sake. Magic Waddle, thank you very much for that. What do they call them? Super sticker or something? Appreciated. Sorry, I only just saw that. Can't believe how Jackson has been good for me since game week 1. He must be one of the top point scorers this year. Jackson's great. Underlying stats are brilliant. He gets a lot of chances. Scored a lot of goals last year, to be fair. Jackson is currently the 4th highest scoring forward, only 2 points behind Watkins, and only 3 points behind Welbeck, whose injury apparently is not as bad as it looked. So yeah, Nicholas Jackson done great this year. Also, Mo Salah is now the top scoring player in the game on 72 points. So he is 3 ahead of Haaland, and he is 3 ahead of Palmer as well. I probably will start Trent over Gabriel. I'll worry about that closer to the deadline. If I haven't Haaland, I'm planning to play free hit next week. Do you think it's well? I wouldn't free hit for Haaland, to be honest with you. Have 3 free transfers. Would you do Trent, Saka, and Diaz to 8 Nuri, Palmer, Son? I think it's just knee-jerk. Also, am I worried about Solanke's minutes? Not massively. They will go down a little bit now Richarlison is back. Like, obviously, if Richarlison starts and Solanke's bench for any game, then that's big panic, and I've probably got to sell him pretty quick. But I think it's more that beforehand I would have expected Solanke to play close to 90 minutes most games. Now it's probably going to be 75 to 80. But like Palace away, Villa at home, Ipswich at home, there's just, again, no real need to worry about it too much. On your moves, Trent, Saka, and Diaz to 8 Nuri, Palmer, Son, I do much prefer the 3 players on the right. So I think it is quite tempting to do that. I'll just say this about Trent. I'm really not sure what to do with him. I can't make up my mind, right? So I'm sitting on the fence a little bit, and I'm just trying to provide like both sides of the story so you can make the decision for yourself. I think Arsenal away is tough. I don't see a clean sheet. I don't see an attack and return. He's capable of doing it, but I don't think it's a very high chance. I think Brighton at home, Villa at home, Southampton away are actually better than they probably... I don't know if I think they're better or slightly worse, but I think they're okay because it's 2 home games. But Brighton and Villa are pretty good attacks, but their Liverpool defence is good. They've got a chance at clean sheets in those 3 games. Maybe not the Villa ones quite so much. But then it's City at home, Newcastle away, Everton away. Every time I look at the fixture list, I think it's okay to sell Trent. But I don't know if I can go through with it myself. Which tells me it's actually quite a tight call. But I think if I was wildcarding, you offered me Trent, Saka, and Diaz or 8 Nuri, Palmer, Son, I would 100% take the options on the right. Maybe I should just sell Trent this week and get Palmer. If I get Palmer this week, I think I'm going to captain Haaland this week, Haaland next week, Son in 11, and then Palmer in 12, maybe. Arsenal have the best defence in the league. None of this Arsenal talk. They've done better so far, yes. And they haven't just lost Saliba either. So, yeah. But generally, I still massively rate Arsenal. At what point is Haaland to sell and upgrade the midfield? I mean, that's a decision for game week 10 onwards, basically. And maybe that is the time. I'm quite tempted to roll this week, then do Haaland to Cunha in 10 at the start of Wolves' fixture run, and then get Salah in, and then get in Palmer later on, basically. I just think Palmer can maybe wait until 12. But at the same time, I'm also I can get Palmer for free this week. I can do Fernandes to Palmer and Trent to a 4.6 million defender. And it's quite tempting just to get Palmer in and be done with it. I just don't know if I want to lose Trent. Am I considering any early moves due to price changes? If I'm completely honest, I've not even looked at price changes. I don't know who, apart from like what's scrolling on the screen. Like I know that Saka's close to a price drop, for example. But no, there's no point in me moving early because my team looks good for this week. Like, on paper, it's decent. Like, okay, double Arsenal defence against Liverpool, probably not getting anything, but they're not going to be worth transfers. Then Lewis, Southampton at home, Pinnock, Ipswich at home, Mbeumo, Ipswich at home. Son obviously just brought in. Rodgers has got Bournemouth at home. He's a great option. Fernandes is fine against West Ham. Haaland captain, Solanke, and then Calvert-Lewin against Fulham at home. So, and I've got 2 free transfers. There's just no massive need to do it. If you triple captain Bruno this season, I'll fly to Galway and buy you a pint. There's no chance I'm going to triple captain Bruno. Might not even own him after this. By game week 9 deadline. And yeah, that's a good point. There's European games and stuff this week as well. Really bad year, 451 points. You're not that far behind me. I'm only on 467. But we'll have four free transfers after the next game week. Plan to triple captain Haaland with Southampton and then sell and go with Palmer, Saka, and Palmer, Salah, and Saka. Too much? No, not too much. The more premium midfielders, the better. Fernandes is always fine. Yeah, but like, honestly, that's part of the appeal. Like, I know he's not got a massive amount of points for me, but the fact that I've said this before, and because he's blanked so many times, people like kind of laugh at it. But because I always know he's going to play, it allows me to focus transfers elsewhere. Like, what was the move that everyone wanted me to do this week? It was Fernandes to Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson blanks, Fernandes gets an assist. But more importantly, by using my transfer elsewhere, I've gained 12 points from Son instead. So this is what I was trying to say to Az. Like, people just look at my team, they see Fernandes, it's like, I can't believe you've still got Fernandes. But nobody thinks about your own team as much as you do. So they're not aware or thinking about why you might still own that player. And for me, apart from I could have gone without him on wildcard 6, there's not been a great time to sell him. In 8 game weeks, there's not been a great time to sell him. There's always been something more important to do or someone better to sell. But people don't care about that. They just see Bruno, he's not scored many points, can't believe you still got him. They don't think any more than that, basically. What do you think about Saka and Dibbling to Palmer and Garnacho for my 2 free transfers? Yeah, love it. Yeah, good moves. Like, Dibbling's a great cheap option, but if you've got the money to upgrade him, there's definitely better midfielders out there. Again, just a slight caveat to what I said earlier. Garnacho not 100% nailed or anything like that, but I do think he's going to start more often than not. He has to. His goal was really good, by the way. Took it nicely. Great cross from Rashford. 2 free transfers. Eze Trent to Son and Aït-Nouri, or Eze to a sub 7.5 million midfielder. I wouldn't bother selling Eze, to be honest, in a single move like that. Again, I've just spoken a lot about whether or not you should sell Trent. I think it's fine to sell Trent if you're happy not having him for those 2 home fixtures, Southampton away. Again, Aït-Nouri and Son's probably quite good. I just hope that Aït-Nouri can stay fit. I haven't checked his injury record, but it always feels like he gets injured when people start bringing him into FPL. That definitely happened last year. Sounds mad, but don't see myself taking a -4 this season. It probably happened at some point. You might get forced into it, but I'm definitely personally, I'm trying to avoid them as much as possible. Just thinking in game week 12, Salah has Southampton and Palmer has Leicester. Might have to sell Haaland to fund. Yeah, both good fixtures. Just remember that Salah in 13 then plays Man City. So Haaland and Salah, I think it's game week 13. They're against each other. When I say Az, do you mean me? No, I mean Az from FPL Blackbox. Az and Az is in Az and Mark. He basically said to me something like, Son was a ballsy call, like to bring him in, and he bought him Foden. I said, no, I think it's the other way around. I think Foden is the more ballsy call because he's just not nailed on. And then he said, I can't believe you. He said something about me having an unhealthy obsession with Bruno, and that's when I left him like a 2-minute voice note explaining why. Free hit to bring in Haaland and captain next week. Again, I'm not convinced that I would free hit. Just someone just got dropped next door. Yeah, I don't think I'd free hit to bring in Haaland personally. Onana or Pickford, wildcard 9. Off the top of my head, having not looked at those 2 long term, I want to say Onana. It probably should be. How much is Pickford? He's a little bit cheaper, isn't he? Yeah, Pickford only 4.8. The fixtures are pretty good for a little while. I mean, this is going to be your goalkeeper probably until wildcard. Honestly, I'd be tempted to go Onana if you got the money. It's probably quite close between the 2. You might even be able to just take the cheap one or just go Flecken for 4.5. But you could have got rid of him on wildcard 6. Yeah, Fernandes, yeah, of course. But again, like, just to go into it again, when I wildcarded in 6, who was the player that everybody wanted me to have instead of Fernandes? It was Luis Diaz. And so I've mentioned Az in this stream way too much. Way too much. Don't like talking about him this much. As I said to him, if I had Diaz in my team right now, it'd almost be more acceptable than having Fernandes, which is absolute nonsense because Diaz has been benched twice. That's what I mean. There's like a perception thing on players, and people don't think rationally about it. I also have Calvert-Lewin. Very tempted to go to Vissa. Yeah, again, I said that earlier. I think it's an okay move if you want to do it, if you want to spend the transfer. People selling Saka because of his fixtures, was there more to his injury than what we initially thought? Well, the fact he wasn't in the squad means there's probably more than we initially thought. So they got Champions League though, so we'll see. We'll see. 0 shots from Harden. Any opinions on that? Yeah, Craig Dawson's just too good. He's just too good. He honestly, first of all, watching that Man City game today was really tedious. It was a really boring game to watch. Apart from the odd time Wolves countered. And Haaland, you'd barely know he was playing, honestly. Now, I know he hardly ever has a game where he has a massive amount of touches anyway. Obviously, that was the thing that everyone talked about when he first came into the Premier League. So he doesn't necessarily need a huge amount of touches to score goals. But I don't know, he just wasn't involved, barely had any... Well, like you said, 0 shots. There was a chance he had, he just completely snatched that. But again, it's Southampton at home. So there's just no point thinking about it. He definitely stays. As a Salah Haaland owner, I don't think I can wildcard in 12 when Salah plays Southampton. But with fixture swings for Chelsea and Arsenal in 12, it's going to make it hard not to wildcard. Well, you could wildcard with Salah if you really want him. But the fact that you don't necessarily want him after that means you probably should just wildcard without him. Yeah, maybe no De Bruyne is having more of an effect than we've given it, or some of us have given it credit for, possibly. Yeah, I'm not against selling him. Put it that way. What's the plan for Game Week 10 if you roll this week? So if I roll this week, I'd have 3 free transfers in 10, and the move would so it'll either be Haaland to Cunha and Semenyo to Salah, or it will just be to roll again, possibly, and go into Game Week 11 with 4 free transfers. And what would the plan be that week? Probably not a lot. Black Box did a lessons learned last week. One of the topics was Bruno is finished as an FPL asset. Yeah, absolutely finished. Guy's never going to get a return again. I hate owning Lewis. I always fear he will come off at half-time. I actually think he did okay in the first. I was less worried about a half-time sub this week than I was in previous weeks. Like he wasn't amazing, but I don't think he was bad. I don't think anyone for City was particularly great today in general. Saka to Son for the next 3 game weeks. Then game week 12, do Son, Solanke, and Mbeumo out for Saka, Palmer, and one of Vissa, Larson, Cunha. In theory, that sounds pretty good, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about selling Mbeumo like in game week 12. Game week 12, he's got Everton away, then Leicester at home, Villa away, Newcastle at home. You got an absolutely nailed on 90-minute penalty taker there for probably less than 7.5 million when you bought him. Be very careful about that. He's not essential, right? And obviously Saka and Palmer would both be better options, but I would almost want to try and sell a different midfielder instead. Walker being out completely is a worry as a Lewis owner for next week. Why is that a worry, though? Surely that's a good thing if Walker's out, right? This is the thing. I keep saying this about Lewis. We constantly panicking about him, or at least I am, and he keeps playing. Like, I said this on Twitter earlier. How many games does he have to play until we stop worrying about him quite so much? I mean, he's a Man City player, so perhaps we never stop worrying about him, but again, I said this earlier. I think we make a lot of decisions in FPL every year. I really try and not give too much thinking time to stuff there's just no point thinking about. And Rico Lewis has Southampton at home, so don't even pretend you're going to bench him. You're going to play him. It's a Friday deadline. The game on Friday is not Man City. You're not going to get early team news unless you're part of the cartel. So you're just going to play him, right? Before 2 weeks, I was 400k. Now I'm 1 million. Yeah, but then hopefully you can go up 600k place over the next couple of weeks. and then build from there. It's really tough to climb up the ranks. Like, I'm on 39 points this week, and I've gone up like 150 to 200k. Like, and that's it. And I'll probably drop down. I will drop down a little bit tomorrow because I've not got any players. So, like, I've bought Son in. I've got Fernandes for an assist in a week where Palmer's blanked, but I've also got Haaland captain. He's blanked, and I don't have Salah. So it's very difficult because there's so many good options, and you just cannot have them all. I love Ben there. Ben, like Sherlock Holmes, he literally just admitted there's a cartel. Yeah, as if that just slipped out. Oh, Ben. Oh, Ben. Who to get, Mikalenko or Van de Ven, and why? For me, Mikalenko because better defense. But what do you think? Yeah, I think Everton's fixtures are very good. I think Everton's fixtures are pretty good. I'd probably go for Mikalenko right now over Van de Ven. Like, Van de Ven has Ipswich in 11. We got Fulham at home, Southampton away for Everton. Brentford at home in 12 is okay-ish. Wolves at home in 14. I mean, I will say some of those home games are against pretty good attacking sides. Like, Wolves and Brentford will cause them problems. And then 15 to 18 is actually pretty dodgy for Everton. Let me have a quick look at Spurs fixtures again. Ipswich home, Fulham at home in 13. Yeah, I'd be tempted to go for the nearer fixtures and just go for Mikalenko. Can you release some cartel merch? That'd be quite funny, wouldn't it? That would be quite funny. Should I sell Saka if I already have Palmer? If Ben, can't answer that unless you're part of the cartel, sorry. That Man United Fenerbahce game is going to be nuts on Thursday. Hopefully Fernandes can get some more returns and then take that into the weekend. Tend to buy Saka to Salah and Trent to Aït-Nouri. Thoughts, or is Diaz to Palmer the priority? Well, it depends if Saka's fit, right? If Saka's fit, I'd much prefer to move Diaz on. Like, even if Diaz plays this week, which he probably will, it's Arsenal away. So it's not even that great. I'm thinking about getting rid of Eze. I can't see it being worth it now at 6.8 million. He's 6.7, I think. Might remove for Dwight McNeil to get funds for a larger transfer such as Jota for Cole Palmer. See, that's one of those things that until you need the money, I wouldn't make the move. So if you've got 2 free transfers and you're moving Eze to someone like Dwight McNeil to fund the Palmer move, fair enough. But if you're just going to sell him now, and then at some point in the future you might use that, I'd just rather have Eze. Like, Everton got really good fixtures. McNeil's not a bad option at all, but I think I'd rather have Eze still. Lewis owners won when he was in the starting lineup, but lost when Vardiol scored. Yeah, it happens. I did like the fact that Lewis was popping up in the box quite a lot, but yeah, Vardiol's a really good pick, but obviously he costs more money too. So if I had Vardiol, I'd have to have sacrificed someone else. Maybe that was Trent Alexander-Arnold. Rank these captaincy options between Mbeumo, Palmer, Watkins, Salah, Son. Well, I'm not going to do all of them. I'd probably go Palmer, then Mbeumo, then Son, maybe. I would just captain Palmer. Any interest in John Stones? I think he's part of Man City's best 11. Probably. It doesn't mean he's definitely going to play every week. I think they're always quite careful with John Stones as well, in terms of like protecting him, because he has like does every now and again get injury concerns. Basically, I've got no interest in buying more Man City players right now. That's the long and the short of it. Like, Southampton at home's good. After that, I'm just not that bothered about having their defenders, and I'm really not bothered about picking any of their attackers that aren't Haaland. And I might even sell Haaland. So I won't be bringing in any Man City players this week. And again, not again, I don't know if I talked about this stream. I think the rules around transfers this week do change, like, my thoughts on players. Like, if this was last season and I had 2 free transfers and I was going to lose them if I didn't use them, then I probably would go for a 1-week punt on someone like Foden, maybe. But this season I can just roll. So it's just easier to do that than bother going for the headache and then having to spend another transfer to get rid of him. Well, I'm just going to put Trent in the 11 because there's lots of questions. That's probably what I'll end up doing. There we go. Trent, Saka, Diaz to 8 Nuri, Salah, Johnson worth a -4. No, probably not. You just deal with Diaz, I think, in that case. Like Salah's good, but what, a -4 before he plays Arsenal away. I know they've not got. I know Arsenal haven't got Saliba. I still don't think I would. A -4 for Salah just doesn't sound right to me. Do you think the 5 transfers stops people making moves so there is less point swings? No. I don't think many people have saved up that. I've never got past 2. Even last week when I had 2, I ended up using one for the Son move, so I've still only got 2 now. So I don't think so. I just think it's still early-ish in the season. I appreciate there's going to be a point where we can't keep saying it's early, don't worry about your overall rank and stuff, but it is still fairly early. Like, it's only 8 game weeks so far. Things might start splitting a little bit soon. You might see some overall rank increases, etc. The ideal situation is you have a player that does really well, but then comes into bad fixtures, and because they've done really well, there'll be a group of people, and they'll probably include myself in that, where I'll be a little bit worried, where they'll find it hard to sell them before the bad fixtures come. But that's your time to try and get ahead of everyone, right? So I mean, that's the thing. Like selling Haaland in game week 10 now, for example. It's getting to the point now where a lot of people would just think, well, it's obvious. He's blanked 3 games in a row. I'm definitely going to do that. A better situation, and obviously this is going to be better if you're a Haaland owner, was for him to absolutely smash it the last few game weeks, smash it against Southampton, and then you sell him because the fixtures get a little bit worse. And you hope that everyone keeps him and he starts doing slightly worse. That's the ideal situation to climb up the ranks. But unfortunately, right now, we've had Haaland, he smashed it, and I've kept him for the good fixtures, and then he stopped smashing it, and now just can't go anywhere. I'm around 2 million and just not moving anytime soon. Did that make any sense? I don't know. Trent didn't look great offensively today. He was playing Chelsea though. He's not going to look. He probably won't look that great offensively next week either. I've only got up to 3 free transfers. It's more than me though. I mean, it doesn't matter if you haven't, doesn't matter if you've banked 3, 4, 5 transfers, right? Transfers are there to get points. So if you need to use them, you use them. Did Trent have a knock? Didn't see anything about that. Yeah, Greaves' injury, not good. Although I wasn't really planning on playing him that much anyway, so hopefully it won't be a massive problem. All right, we've been going for over an hour. So any more questions, preferably that aren't related to Bukayo Saka, because I feel like I've talked about it a lot, and it's quite. What's more boring now? Maybe I should do a poll. Talking about the Saka to Son transfer, or talking about Bruno Fernandes and why I've still got him. Chelsea actually look quite decent. Agree? Yeah. The thing is though, when you say you can see a triple up, who? Outside, maybe Palmer and Jackson, and possibly like a Colwell, I guess. But Reece James. Too much concerns about his injury record, and any attacker not named Palmer or Jackson is just minutes would just worry me. Gabriel Mikolenko to play this week, probably. I guess Mikolenko, Havertz or Semenyo. I'm tempted to say Semenyo, but I think if it was actually me, I'd probably just do Havertz. Is it only me that prefers Johnson rather than Son and Palmer? Probably. Well, there's probably quite a few people that prefer Johnson to Son, or at least they did before this week just gone, because Johnson was doing so well. But yeah, I mean, the money's great for Johnson, but I wouldn't say he's better than Son or Palmer, like in terms of actual points. Maybe for value. Obviously, Palace still to play, but surely Eze will return soon. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, Madueke, I've maybe. He's been, to be fair, he started every game since game week 1, hasn't he? But he could just get brought off at any point. And the thing is, there's only 5 midfield slots. So let's say you want 2 premiums, Palmer and Saka, or Palmer and Son, whoever it is. Then you've got Mbermo. I don't really want to sell Rodgers either. I've got 1 more space. basically. Is that going to be for Madueke? I'd probably rather have Brennan Johnson, Garnacho, Eze than Madueke. I just don't see it. If I am looking to sell Jackson this week down to a cheap striker, who? Cunha? I'd probably go Visser or Cunha. I'd be a little bit tempted to go Visser and take the risk on him because it's Ipswich at home. Your whole argument is that you decided last minute. That is not believable. You knew you'd get Son unless it was confirmed that Saka was starting. Yeah, I made the decision last minute, but I was thinking about it for days. What do you want me to say? I made it last minute. Like, if it makes you feel better to think that I had news, then I'll say it. I had news, and there we go. You can, if that makes you feel better, great. I honestly, I won't say what I want to say. I find the whole. I gotta be honest. I find the whole thing unbelievable. Like, I know we take FPL too seriously, but I don't know. You need to get a grip. Honestly, you just need to get a grip about it. Is it true you're the Pablo Escobar of the FPL cartel? No. I don't know if Ben's serious or he's he's not sensing sarcasm. Thoughts on Strand Larsen? I like the price. I really like the price. And that might be enough to go for him over Cunha. I think Johnson is more central attacking. Johnson is a great pick in his own right. But Son, if you had to bet on who's going to score more points over the next 3 weeks, I'd say Son. Please say what you want to say. No, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at get a grip. Like, how many, like, for those of you that have watched me for years, how many times have I made late transfers? It happens all the time. But this week it's a massive problem. Is Galway stormy? I went out for a walk this morning about 11. It was very stormy, yeah. And it's kind of got worse throughout the day. I think it's calming down now, though. I think our bins and barbecue are still intact. Not that we're going to be having a barbecue anytime soon. Matt Sarari could be a shout if he drops back down to 4.5. Possibly, yeah. Possibly. How do you decide between Cunha and Strand Larsen? Well, I think generally Cunha's minutes are going to be a little bit better. Although I don't think they necessarily have been recently. I'm just looking now. Yeah, he came off early today, but I think that was mostly just a Man City thing. Yeah, so generally Cunha plays more minutes, and I think he's probably on penalties as well. It's 1 million more. So for me, let's say I definitely want to go for one of the two Wolves players. It'll probably come down to what am I going to use that 1 million for? And if I don't really have too much to use it for, I'll just go for Cunha. How do I find living in Galway? Love it. Love it. You work in a restaurant on Spanish Arch. You nearly got blown away. Which restaurant? It's just suspicious when the late transfer isn't bringing in Harry Maguire. Oh, I'd love to do that. The days of the Harry Maguire bullet-headed dream, they're gone. I don't think they're ever going to happen. Would you really double up on the Brentford attack with Visser if you already have Mbeumo? I would definitely consider it, yeah. I wouldn't really worry about the fact I got Mbeumo. I would just weigh Visser up against other forwards. The only problem where having like a double up sometimes becomes an issue is if, let's say you had, like for example, if I had Porro as well as Son and Solanke, then when they play Man City away, suddenly I've got 3 players with a bad fixture at the same time. But generally, I look at Visser versus Strand Larsen versus Cunha versus Chris Wood, whoever, and just pick the best option. Yeah, Højlund did play well yesterday. I think it's much better for Man United having someone like that than Xerxes. Like a proper... I would say Højlund's more like a focal point and Xerxes more like link up, I guess. Strand Larsen has more total minutes and more points. Is that true? Well, the points thing, whatever, I don't... But the minutes, is that true? But wasn't Cunha injured at the start? Yeah, and he played 33 and 67 minutes. But if you look since he came into the team in Game Week 3, like properly, he's played 90 minutes most games. Yeah, Strand Larsen's minutes are good. I think he's a good option for 5.5. You know me though, I love the penalties, even though I love the penalties, even though no one ever gets them for me. Well, that's not true. I've had a Haaland penalty this year. Is Matsurawi a sell? If so, for who? I think if you can bench him the next couple of weeks, the fixtures for Man United get pretty good in 11, 12, 13. Arsenal defender Tavadio looks so tempting. Yeah, I can see that. All right, my throat's getting a bit sore now. I can feel it coming. So probably should stop talking rubbish and get off this stream. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed that, make sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button, especially if you want to see more last-minute transfers. I'm sure there'll be a few this season, which will be much less controversial than this week's one. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Normal content this week, as always. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will catch you again soon.